Well, hello there. It's Polly Brennan here from Adventurous Coaching, and today's topic is all about how to lean out of your comfort zone. So, when we can learn how to become more comfortable with discomfort, then we can all get more out of life. Okay, so that's when we can love life more, and that's when we can grow and learn and become our best. So, why would we want that? Why wouldn't we? We would all enjoy life so much more if we didn't stay safe. So this short video is all about comfort zones. Okay, so why is it that certain things create anxiety for us? And the short answer to that is that we all have a comfort zone. Some people have a very large comfort zone, some people have a very small comfort zone. But we all have certain things we're really comfortable with and certain things that we're really uncomfortable with. And when things come up for us that are out of that bubble, out of our comfort zone, things can get very stressful and we can experience anxiety. So in that moment, people may make a decision to stay safe and stay in the comfort zone, and people might choose to lean out. Either way, it's going to feel uncomfortable. And why is it that at these times, sometimes we make a choice to stick with what we know? So that can really hold us back. And obviously, I want, for me and for you and for all of us, I want us to be able to have more of everything that's good for the soul and everything that's about living your life's adventure and having more fun. Okay, so why am I talking about this today, you might ask? Well, this comes up a lot in life coaching. People come to me, come to other life coaches as well, I'm sure, because they feel stuck with life. They might want more, they might feel uncomfortable with that, and sometimes they're making excuses up about why they can't have change. And those excuses help people to stay put. So I want to tell you a little bit more on how that works. So we all have thoughts and feelings and actions, yeah? And they create our personality. Okay, so our mindset affects our attitudes and our personality. And that influences our personal reality, so our sense of the world. And doing something different to what we normally do, that means changing your mind. That means changing your mindset. And it also needs new ways of thinking. And we're very hardwired as human beings to thinking the same thoughts. And if you always do what you always did, you'll obviously always get what you always got. I'm sure that makes sense, doesn't it? So if we think about doing something different to the norm, it's going to get uncomfortable. And in that moment, the inner critic is chattering, it's probably telling you really unhelpful stuff. I know my inner critic has a field day sometimes telling me all sorts of stuff that I sometimes believe. Things get uncomfortable. And in that case, what you can do is stay put. Stick to what we know, go back to the comfort zone, things feel less uncomfortable in there, and we stay put. And in that moment, we probably create a story about that situation that we were thinking about being the wrong thing to do, or maybe why we couldn't do it. We make a story up about that, and it keeps us in a place of fear. The other option we have is to become comfortable. Try that again, with the uncomfortable, and that lets us create the unknown, the new situation, the thing we're scared of. So some facts for you. Most people try to create a new reality for themselves without changing their thoughts, their feelings, their emotions. So that's when sometimes people don't succeed with getting out of their comfort zone, or when it becomes really uncomfortable. And another fact I have for you is that 95% of who we are is hardwired by the age of 35. So, oh my goodness, that's well gone for me. So I'm quite hardwired by now, and I've got certain ways of thinking and doing things. Okay, so and also we have 90% of the same thoughts today as we did yesterday. So that's the way we're programmed as human beings. And the power of coaching is that often when people will come to a life coach, when they want to change how they're thinking and change how they perceive a situation or their capability in order to go forward. And that involves trying on some new thoughts and deciding if they fit in your future. So that's one of the things that life coaching can help people with. And that helps people to really grow in the process. They try the challenges that they've been thinking about, and they grow and they learn, and it's very, very, very powerful. So that's incredibly possible. I want to just share a wee story with you. You may or may not have heard the lobster story. So it's not my story. I read it, I heard it, and I loved it, and I want to share it with you because really after listening to the lobster story and how lobsters grow, I felt compelled to make this video basically and to address the importance of managing stress in order to face new challenges. So I know an old professor is reading a magazine in the dentist's surgery and he's waiting and he's reading it, and it's an article about how lobsters grow, and his gut reaction is, I don't care. But then he does start to read the article and he finds it intriguing because what he learns is that lobsters become uncomfortable in their shell and they find a rock to go underneath so that they can cast their shell and have a safe space to cast their shell and grow a new shell, which is bigger, and then they're able to grow into their new shell. And he felt intrigued by that, really, because it was a story about risk, and it reminded him that the stimulus for growth is closely connected to that feeling of discomfort. And of course, if lobsters didn't cast their shell, they'd get very uncomfortable in their shell. And in order to grow, they needed to cast their shell and take a risk and find some safety or something helpful to help them grow. So I guess at times of stress for us, we can either say, no thank you, we can make stuff up and stay put, or we can say yes and leap in, or maybe just lean in, lean out, and try something different. And it's completely possible to do that for all of us, but it does require some discomfort, and it requires us to learn to be uncomfortable with that and to know we're safe. I've done a video about fear. Please check in with that, because fear and comfort zones are obviously very closely linked. So now is the bit where I have some top tips for you. So when you're faced with a challenge and you're thinking about going forward, ask yourself this question. What is the worst thing that could happen? What's the worst thing that could happen? It's a really, really good question. You'll surprise yourself. Perhaps you'll realise that you kind of know the answer to that. You might realise that it's no big deal. But it's good to hear yourself say it out loud and work it out what it is you're actually fearful of. Ask yourself, how would I tackle it? You might find you already know the answer to that, and that would be amazing to realise and discover that your biggest fears are not awful and that you can trust yourself to overcome them. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to play the consequence game. So I'm going to say this to you. Ask yourself, what might happen if I don't do this? And ask yourself, what's the consequence of going forward and doing it? So what's the consequence of not doing this thing that I want to do? What's the consequence of doing the thing? What's possible if I do go forward with this? And just challenge yourself on that and see what you come up with, okay? Because it might help you make a decision about whether you should go forward. The next thing I want to say is ask yourself this. What would I do if I couldn't fail? Imagine if there was no obstacles and nothing could go wrong. What might you do? And jump into that for a while and wade around and get kind of excited about what it is you would really, really love if you stopped living in fear and being in your comfort zone. And just enjoy that. Get as much detail as you can. And keep asking yourself, and what else, and what else? And keep describing it as much detail as you can until you can't think of anything more you've explained it in detail. Because the truth is, things that we can explain about in a lot of detail, we already usually know quite a lot about how to have that. So that's an interesting idea, isn't it? That we already know. Sometimes we already know how to do the things we want and that we're scared of, or we know how to do some of it. Okay, make a plan. That's the final top tip. Make a plan. What is it you want? When do you want it? How are you going to make it happen? Write it. Why not? Why not indulge? Tell somebody about it. Let someone know you're going to do it. You've said it out loud, and that means you've got to hold yourself accountable. Get someone to champion you along the way. Also build in some small milestones so okay, 3 months time I want to be doing that. What are the smaller steps towards it? Because it can feel big, but if you break it down into small chunks and have milestones along the way, you'll start to see that you're getting there, and that'll be very, very exciting and motivating. And have an empowering message to tell yourself along the way. Have a helpful thought to take you forward. So that's all I have to say about this. This has been all about comfort zones and how to lean out your comfort zone. If you would like to be coached on this, if you'd like me to help you, please get in touch, Polly at adventurouscoaching.com. check me out on my website. You can subscribe to my weekly challenge. If you love this video, give me a thumbs up, or even better, subscribe. Also, if you've had a real success in jumping out your comfort zone or doing something new, taking on a challenge and absolutely thriving in the process, please share it with me. Even if you had an experience where it was a difficult situation for you but you learned a lot, that's totally valuable. I'd love to hear, because you know, your experiences and your learning along the way helps me to help other people. So let's share these stories. It's really inspiring. Yeah, so if you've got something you want to jump into, contact me and share your stories and let me know what you're doing. And in the meantime, I wish you well, and I hope that you're thinking about how you are going to get out of your comfort zone. So that's me, Polly Brennan at Adventurous Coaching, signing out. Bye now.